Today's reading, March 1st. You've made it through 2 months of reading through the Bible. Hope that's going well for you. Remember, if you miss a day, don't fret, don't worry. Just keep going. It's not about crossing every T, right, and dotting every I. It's not an assignment that if you don't do it, you're going to fail. It's an opportunity to fall more in love with God, with Jesus, because you're in His Word. So look at it that way, rather than as a duty, but as a get to. So March 1st, our readings are Exodus 12, 22 to 51, Luke 15, Job 30, and 1 Corinthians 16. Yesterday we were in Exodus, and we were a little ahead of ourselves as far as the ending of the Passover that occurs today. And so kind of refer back to yesterday's for today's reading. But I want to be in Luke 15. Luke 15, there's several parables here, culminating with, of course, the parable of the prodigal son, or of the father's love. And really, the chapter is about God's heart as seen through these little stories that Jesus is telling. The heart that Jesus has for the lost is the heart that we're to have. And so he starts in chapter 15 with the tax collectors and sinners were drawing near to him. The Pharisees and the scribes grumbled, saying, "This man receives sinners and eats with them." Like they can't believe it, that people that aren't perfect want to get close to Jesus. That's kind of how it's supposed to work, right? And that's kind of how it works at church, right? None of us have it together, and we all need to draw near to Jesus. Come as you are. He'll be doing the work in us and through us. Don't wait till you think you're good enough. That day will never come. But notice here, this parable of the lost sheep is the one I wanted to really just focus on for a moment. Where if you have 100 sheep and you lose one, you leave the 99 in the open country to go find that other one. And when he finds it, he lays it on its shoulder and he's rejoicing. And he calls others to rejoice with him. And he says in verse 7 this. Here's where it becomes the spiritual. "Just so I tell you, there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who need no repentance." Whenever you get to the place where you think you're okay, it's a hardened heart. You're like a Pharisee and a grumbling scribe. In other words, we are all that one. And at some point in the journey, he's rescued us, and there is great rejoicing in heaven. And that's the kind of heart that we need to have for those that don't know God. It's easy to just slam and talk negative and talk how bad the world is and how bad those people are. And I don't think that's what the heart of God is, though. I think it's to reach out with the love of God and the grace of God and say there's a better way. There's someone who loves you more than life itself. And there'll be great rejoicing over heaven. It culminates this chapter, with the story with the man with 2 sons. You know it well. And various times we think about, being the older son or the younger son. And there's probably mixes of both of those in our lives at times where we've gone astray. Other times where we think, well, I'm doing very well, and how come things aren't going well for me? And really it's about the love the Father has. The things that he does in that story, representative of the love of God, the love of Jesus in and for all of us. And so those are the messages, those are the things that we need to focus on. Those are the characteristics that we need in our lives as well. So that we are not the ones sitting at home complaining and grumbling, why don't I get this, and how come, and I've done this, and I've done that. But rather, thank you, God, for your amazing love for me. Help me to extend that kind of love to others, even when it seems like they don't deserve it, because that's what grace is. That's how we got in. That's how we continue to walk with him. Till next time, keep growing.